Hello everybody, it's Diego the Rainbow Star Person and welcome to this YouTube channel. If you haven't yet, please like this video and subscribe for more content like this. Now on to today's video, which is about cognitive distortions. So cognitive distortions are quite interesting because they affect how we feel and what we think, and they often prevent us from seeing things clearly as they actually are. So I'm going to go over 3 different types of cognitive distortions, but if you'd like to reference the rest of the cognitive distortions out of many types of cognitive distortions, feel free to look in the description below this video so that you can see all the different kinds of cognitive distortions and all of their descriptions to see if you or anybody else goes through those cognitive distortions at some point in time. I'm sure that you can identify at least one. So I'm going to go over 3 different cognitive distortions that I have gone through and the way I've rewired my brain to think in a different way. That's what CBT is about, or cognitive behavioral therapy. If you're new to this channel, I've been talking about cognitive behavioral therapy in the last couple of videos, and I'm going to be talking about it some more. So let's look at cognitive distortions. So one of the cognitive distortions that I notice a lot of people do, including my mom and some friends, is should statements, saying that you should or shouldn't do something. How is that a cognitive distortion? Well, it places judgment and criticism on yourself rather than seeing things from a non-judgmental standpoint. So let me give you an example. I can think, for example, I should go for a walk. Sometimes saying a should statement comes from a need. It's helpful to look at the need behind the statement, such as looking at how saying I should go for a walk comes from the need of movement. I needed to move around, which is why I thought that I should go for a walk. But how can that be problematic to think that way? Well, it places criticism on myself if I don't go to walk. And if I think I should go to a walk, and if I don't go to a walk, it's bad. Thinking in that way can not be as helpful as you would like. Thinking I should go for a walk, and if I don't go for a walk, it's bad, is a should statement, and it's not a helpful way of looking at it. So let me give you an example of how to rewire this should statement. So first you look at the evidence that confirms the should statement. If I go for a walk, I will benefit from it because then I'll get some exercise. The evidence that contradicts that is, which is the second part, look at the evidence that does not support the statement. If I don't go for a walk, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'll still be okay if I don't go for a walk. I might choose to play music or YouTube a little bit instead of going for a walk. That is evidence that does not support that statement. Then you look at how that statement is a distortion. You look at how that statement doesn't make much sense if you think about it. So it's not necessarily a bad thing if I don't go for a walk, right? So that is a way of looking at how the statement, the cognitive distortion, isn't exactly accurate. Then looking at it in a more helpful way. So if I don't go for a walk, it's okay, and I would like to go for a walk because I enjoyed going for a walk. Thinking of it in a different way, like I would like to go for a walk, or it would be nice to go for a walk, rather than I should. Saying I would like to, or I would enjoy going for a walk, takes the pressure off of yourself, and it takes the expectations off of yourself, and it cuts you some slack. So then you look at the way that this benefits you, looking at it in a different way. You look at how looking at the statement in a different way is beneficial towards you. So this is beneficial towards me because it takes the pressure off of me, and I can feel more calm and chill about going for a walk instead of putting so much pressure on myself. So it helps me feel more relaxed and calm. There you go. That's just one example out of many ways that you can look at cognitive distortions. Let me give you another example. So, and this is a cognitive distortion out of many cognitive distortions. Emotional reasoning. So basically, I remember several days ago, I said to myself, I feel stuck, therefore I am stuck. Emotional reasoning often goes like, I feel blank, therefore I am blank. But it does not necessarily reflect reality. Just because I felt stuck didn't mean I necessarily was actually stuck. Your feelings don't always reflect reality, just like how your thoughts don't necessarily reflect reality all the time either. And it can be very enlightening to realize this. Your thoughts and feelings do not dictate your reality. I am not my thoughts and feelings. I am a beautiful soul and a beautiful human. So remembering that really helps a lot. So with emotional reasoning, you think that your feelings are dictating your reality, essentially in a nutshell. And when we look at emotional reasoning, we can think things like, I'm feeling stuck. And actually, stuck isn't a real feeling. You've got to look at the feeling beneath that word. A better way to describe how I was feeling was frustrated. Frustrated is an actual feeling. I'm feeling frustrated because I think that I am stuck, is a more accurate way of saying it. So I'm feeling frustrated because I think I'm stuck, therefore I am stuck. That is emotional reasoning. And let's look at the evidence supporting that statement. So the reason that might have made sense to me is because that day I hadn't done many things. I hadn't done a lot of things. I had only done a few things. So that would be evidence supporting that statement that I hadn't done that much that day. Evidence that contradicts that statement is I had gotten up from bed, I had breakfast, I had showered and brushed my teeth, and I had lunch, and I Reiki'd myself. I self-Reiki'd, and that was actually something that I did. So I wasn't necessarily stuck because I was actually doing things. And this was like in the middle of the day that I was thinking that. Then I looked at the next part, which is, how is this a cognitive distortion? Well, it's a cognitive distortion because it does not necessarily reflect reality. Just because I was feeling that way did not mean that that was actually the reality. I was actually being productive because I was self-healing, and self-healing is a form of being productive. A better way of looking at this, which would be the fourth step, the better way of looking at it, is noticing that I actually was being productive, and I'm actually being productive, therefore I'm not stuck. And I don't have to do a lot of things. Maybe the most productive thing I can do is rest. So just cutting myself some slack. And also that was during vacation time before school started up again. So that was my time to rest. Maybe what I needed to do that day was rest and recover my energy. Now let's look at the fifth point. The fifth point is, how does looking at things in a different way benefit me? Well, it benefits me because it causes me to feel more confident and self-assured and more sure of myself and more secure and more stable. So it ended up causing me to feel more confident, and that's why it benefited me to think in that way. Now let's look at another cognitive distortion that you might experience, or anybody might experience. Making an all or nothing statement, saying things like always or never. The thing about always and never statements is that those statements often can be contradicted by an exception. And that's why it's important to realize that's a cognitive distortion. I'm not going to go through all 5 steps again, but I'm just mentioning some other types of cognitive distortions that could rise up. Thank you all so much for listening to me talk about this. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and that the rest of your days benefit from rewiring your brain. Peace out, much love, and may you all be free. Mwah.